Welcome to the CEO session on leadership in turbulent times. Over the last 5 years, the corporate world has been going through extraordinary turbulences, starting from pandemic to supply chain disruptions to wars, sanctions, tariffs. The rapid rise of artificial intelligence also added new challenges, especially in the jobs and skilling areas. But however, the Indian companies remain unfazed in all these periods. The net sales of top 1,000 companies increased by almost 80% in the last 5 years. However, the net profit of the 1,000 companies jumped 4.5 times in the 5 years' time. That's a big achievement. So we have four of our great business leaders with us to tell you about how they steered their businesses through volatility, what mindset they adopted, and how they are how they are preparing for the uncertainties of tomorrow. Let's start with Mr. Venkatraman. Titan's premium play depends heavily on consumer sentiment and disposable income. How did macroeconomic challenges tested your resilience, and what lessons stand out?
See, one of the things we knew was that between 2020 and 2030, there was a doubling of the top two income classes in the country. The elite and the affluent, from 12%, they were jumping to 23%. And our company was very clearly aligned to those two classes. And we innovated substantially in that. The second thing was, all along, we've been a very Bharat-focused company as well. So we've been moving deeper and deeper into the smallest of towns, and particularly the jewelry category is very deeply penetrated. The third is that we are a franchising-led company. We've got more than 1,000 entrepreneurs who are working with us to deliver value to customers in the nooks and corners. And the last thing is we are an exclusive brand outlet company. So we have more than 40 million customers about whom we know directly, and we are able to reach into them, build relationships, and that's been the story of our growth.
That's interesting. Mr. Satish, in fact, Hindalco also there was a phase like high debt, low profitability, high volatile commodity market. And over a period of time, you have multiplied your profits. What were the key leadership strategies that guided this transformation?
So look, when you are a manufacturing company like us in the commodity world, you have to realize that market turmoil now has become a sort of a daily issue for us. And the second thing you also realize is that the price of the metal, which is for us aluminum and copper, is actually set by somebody else and not by you. So I think the strategies that we have adopted during these type of times is focus on what you can control. I think this is a clear message to the organization, which is very important, not to read the headlines, but you're a manufacturing company, so run safe operations, produce good quality products, take care of your customers and employees. And if you do this, then I think that over the periods of ups and downs, you will outperform your competition. The second thing that's very clear is that in times of turmoil, the market throws up opportunities. And what we saw in the last 4 years is that with the geopolitical uncertainties, the Indian manufacturing industry, I think, has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take advantage of. So whether it is in the building and construction, whether it's on the automotive sector, people are trying to diversify away from China and come to India. Mm-hmm. And I think that we took a lot of those opportunities to move into the value-added space. And I think that really helped. And last, I think as a leader, you have to keep things simple and communicate. So I think in turmoil, what people in the plants, people in your organization need is very clear and simple communication. That helps.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Rajesh, in fact, Mahindra maintained SUV dominance while you were building EVs, and also you were building indigenous skateboard chassis. So how tough was balancing the legacy and new age businesses during turbulence?
Yeah, thanks, Nevin, and pleasure to be on the panel with everyone here. You know, it's just 5 years, but seems like a lifetime. Honestly, when we embarked on the EV journey, we were new to it completely. And the first thing was to tell ourselves that we needed the humility to know that we didn't know. And when you get into that mindset, then you're far more open to figuring out where to get knowledge, where to get technology, how do you build partnerships. And one of the things that we did very early on was a very clear set of what is it that we want to be good at and excel in, and what is it that we don't mind buying out, which we don't think will be the basis of differentiation. So we had basically defined design software interface, which is the customer user interface, as the key factors which we wanted to own. And everything else we were open to going out and buying. So that was one thing. The other very important learning in this journey was, we originally thought that EVs are all new and let's create a team in Detroit which, is going to be able to do the product development from there. And pretty soon we realized that actually that we'll never be able to build scale there. And we had to use a lot of our conventional people who had worked on powertrains, actually, our diesel and gasoline engines. And literally overnight when we made that decision, we moved 800 people out of current programs and set up a complete new EV center. But we did everything differently. It was a completely different set of team. And a key part of the leadership time, including my own, though I'm not a tech person, was spent in getting us EV ready because it was new and it needed very agile decision making on the go. So we had to separate teams and we had to resource very strongly for it.
Mr. Lodha, real estate cycles are sharp with cash flows fluctuating and while the cost stay constant. So how did you navigate the fluctuating economy and what were the key lessons emerged?
Neville, thanks for having me on this panel and thanks for this wonderful audience that's here today. In terms of real estate, our belief is that India's going through this once-in-a-lifetime transition from low income to mid-income. And these transitions, typically we've seen it in the US, we've seen it in China, mean very long real estate cycles. Not the conventional 6-8 year cycle, but more like the 15, 20 or even longer cycle. And real estate and housing lead to the creation of the middle class and of course benefit from the creation of the middle class. While of course there will be tough periods or bad years in this, we believe that keeping leverage low is the only one mantra which we can sort of exercise while making sure that our eyes are on what's really happening in the marketplace, which is a consumer which is extremely aspirational and an economy which has great capacity to grow. So while if we keep focused on those two and keep leverage low, then I think there are great opportunities for our team to capitalize and build strong brands in a segment or an industry which is extremely close to the consumer's heart.
Okay, the strong foundations are vital for survival in crisis. When Mr. N. Chandrasekharan became the chairman, his primary mantra was like fitness first, performance next. So, Mr. Venkatraman, what defines the right mindset during turbulence? Is it patience, decisiveness, empathy, or a mix of all?
Actually, I would start with calmness. We need to be very calm in those times and not take ourselves too seriously. Like Devina said, too much of attribution is made to the role of CEOs in this, and Mr. Puri said distributed leadership. So I think it's about a shared problem and problem solving with a lot of empathy and stakeholder focus.
Yeah, that's it. Satish, Hindalco is in the midst of 10 billion investment and you are going to complete your Alabama project. So what drives such long-term financial commitments when there is geopolitical uncertainty is there?
So, I was interestingly listening to Prashant and Devina talk about short-term versus long-term in a CEO. So when you're actually, again, in a metals cycle, you have to realize that your investment size, the minimum is $1 billion, 8,000 crores. The cycle you're looking at is for your plant to come out is 3 to 5 years. So I think that, for us, you have to make a bet on your commodity, which is for us aluminum and copper. And we are quite sure that with electrification, EVs, there is going to be a demand. So then your investment cycle, you can't look at the current quarter and see what XYZ president is doing or what. You have to take a look and say that, how is the strength of your balance sheet? Do you have the cash to invest? And you are making a bet that the market 3 to 5 years down the road is going to be strong. So that's why I think that, we are going ahead with a $10 billion investment plan, because we think that in 3 to 5 years, the demand for aluminum and copper is going to be strong, and we have the money to invest now.
The confidence about the market. Mr. Mahindra also plans about some 27,000 crore investment, and also looking to launch some 12 SUVs by 2030. So is it competition or the opportunity that fuels your rapid expansion?
No, competition, I strongly believe, is the worst thing to get over-obsessed with. You have to be very focused on who your customer is and can be, and what can you do to get the best proposition out to them. So yes, it's totally driven by an opportunity. The category, in a way we say we own the authentic SUV category. That was really small 5 years back. And when we launched the Thar 3-door in 2020, most people didn't give it any chance, because no one in India visualized that anyone will use a 3-door vehicle, which means 2 doors in front and 1 in the back, so 2 doors. It was a very clear, no, this can't sell in India. But within a year, we scaled up to 6,000 a month, which was a very significant volume. And understanding customers really and what drives them at a point of time, I think, is what we get obsessed with.
Okay. So when it comes to real estate, execution speed is so critical. So how do you build agile teams that anticipate shocks rather than responding to it?
Neville, I believe that there is a layer, given the complexity of the real estate business, there's a layer in the organization whose role is to absorb the shocks and to leave the rest of the teams to do what they're very good at. I think, me and a few of our colleagues were, quite frankly, not very good at anything. Play this role of absorbing the external shocks and making sure that the rest of the organization can keep focusing on what they really do very well, which is to build great product, design it well, and make sure that consumers get what they want, both in terms of product and service. I think, there is so much talk out there about how complexity is growing, how we are in a very volatile world. But we within the organization believe that, yes, all of that is happening, and yet what our category stands for is stability and a very, very long-term view. The product that we build ends up being owned for very long periods of time. The replacement cycles are very long, and hence it's very important for us to focus on that very long-term picture and let these volatile times be just what they are. As they say, this too shall pass.
Okay, interesting. So the key takeaways is largely like clarity of purpose, flexibility in execution, and conviction in long-term vision. These will define the true leadership in turbulence. So please join me in thanking our distinguished panel for their valuable insights. Thank you all.